What do you have to do in order to put this in your life and make it worth something? You need to step back. And that is the hardest step. I keep mentioning this let go thing. What does that actually mean? It means to say to yourself, that person is not enriching my life. There is a point where you have to make a decision to walk away. That takes courage, takes strength. You need to say, I need to isolate myself, get away from this. And in that isolation, you begin to find yourself. It's like, I'm not saying that I found the answers, but sitting here with your thoughts all day long without anybody interrupting you or interfering with them, putting their views onto you, it does help you to not wallow in your own world, but it helps you to understand it better. When you step back, you begin to heal. When you recognise that you can become strong by not accepting that bad behaviour, not accepting the fact that somebody's called you unworthy, not good enough, gaslighting you into thinking that you're the problem. When you step back and start to think, then all the answers seem to come because your mind becomes clear. It has the space. When you walk away from somebody or a situation that's not pleasant and not causing you any pleasure, and in fact it's only causing you pain, when you walk away from that, it gives you freedom, gives you peace of mind. But that's just the surface. Freedom isn't just being alone. You don't get freedom that way. You get freedom by interacting with the world and not reacting to their judgments, not reacting to their opinions, their views, not being offended, not allowing your emotions to get entangled with them. Being able to step back and observe and become aware of their behaviours, their personalities, their character traits. And it is difficult because you want to give people a chance. You want to give them the opportunity. You want to be able to say, okay, I like you. I want to spend more time with you. You want to be able to do those things. You want to say those things to these people. You want to feel that love. But the freedom comes from when you are able to listen to their words and their behaviours and their actions and not let it define you. Not let it make you think differently. Not let it make you change yourself for the worst. Be happy with yourself. I mean, how do you know whether their opinions, their actions, their judgments are a result of your behaviour or it's their behaviour that's wrong? How do you not get on your high horse and let your ego get in control and say, it's me, it must be me, I'm the common denominator amongst all of these people, all these things, everywhere I go, I get all of this. How do you understand what the difference is? Is if you think you are causing pain to somebody. Like my stepfather's attitude to my mother with regards to her driving and her friends. It wasn't up to him to tell her she was a bad driver or constantly shout at her every time she changed the gear. And that frightened her. It defined her. It didn't allow her freedom. Ask yourself, is this person stopping me from living my life? Is their attitude, is their behaviour, is their judgment of me and what I've done or said, is that enriching me? Is that making me more loving, more thoughtful, more kind? Is that giving me pleasure? Or is it just stroking my ego? You just ask yourself those questions and then sit with that for a little bit and eventually you'll come to the answer. That's where the freedom for your soul is, a peace that you find. You find yourself not reacting to their reactions. You start finding the truth within yourself. And these emotions then work for you. Whereas before they were acting on fear, worried that this person is going to leave you, this person is going to think badly of you, this person is going to judge me for doing this or saying that. Instead of second guessing what people are going to think all the time, you just go into it easily with love, kindness, thoughtfulness, patience, fortitude, and you feel at ease. You feel peaceful. You start living your life. Freedom doesn't come from, I'm going to say this, my dad. Okay, I'll give you an example of him. He was anything for a quiet life. And while that's quite nice, anything for a quiet life, one day he up and left the family home. He'd married 3 times. And my sister and brother called me up and said, we don't know where Dad is. We found him in the end. So what happened then was he chose to run away. That running away didn't solve anything. He lived his life from the age of 50, I think, to the age of 75 on his own, alone, with no love. Apart from me, who kept visiting him and hassling him all the time. Spending Christmases with him, and I loved the Christmases I spent with my dad. All we did was give each other a little mince pie each. I had mine with custard because I don't really like mince pies. And sat in front of the telly and ate and drank all day long, just watching films and stupid things on the telly. I didn't even talk, and it was nice. It was peaceful. It was quiet. It was lovely. No hassles, no worries, no stresses, no strains, no thinking about second guessing the person. It was just being in each other's company. And I really do miss it. And this is what I mean by people who try to run away from people. He ran away from that home to this little flat in the middle of Liverpool. And he took himself, his own mind, his own emotions with him. So he still had that kind of loneliness inside of him. That suffering, that pain. And I know that as a child, he couldn't breathe. He had asthma, and so he was put in a home run by nuns. And that made him feel rejected, abandoned, left. Because his mum had 6 kids and he was the eldest of them. But he still had this family value thing inside of him. When he actually left and he went to work, he worked on a building site because he was told the bitumen would make his breathing a lot easier. It did, in actual fact, fairness. But that's where he stayed all his life, because people told him that's what your life's going to be. And he didn't think outside the box. That's not wrong. It's just him trying to protect himself again, trying to live his life. So when you think about a person's life, it's not just the physical sensations, the running away or staying put, or fighting, expressing your anger or your emotions. It's what's inside of you that really defines who you are, your beliefs, your actions. It's what you've got from your past, what you've learned, what's inside your heart, and how you can change that in order to make life more pleasurable, peaceful. All throughout your life, you've had all these people telling you how bad you are, how you're not worthy, you're not good enough. Yeah, you've had these people telling you all these bad things all your life, and you're thinking, I am that person. But you don't have to be. You can be worth what you think you're worth. It's the first step on the ladder, becoming aware. If you don't become aware, you stay where you are. If you become aware of what's happening around you, what these people are trying to teach you, then you start to move. Think about your parents, think about your siblings, think about your grandparents, and if you can go further back, great. Think about their actions and their behaviours, and think, what am I taking on board from them? Not just your family, but the extended family too. Do you think that you're worth all the things around you? certificates on your wall, cups that you've won, bonuses that you've got from your boss. Is that what you're worth? Or do you think to yourself, I'm worth much more than this, but I don't know what it is? Do you think now, as an adult, you look back as yourself as a child and you think about all the things that you tried to show your love and it was just rejected? I remember a time when I kept saying to Dad, I want to be an architect. It's because I was watching this programme. In that programme, he kept on saying, I want to be an architect. When the boat comes in, I think that was it. And I used to draw these pictures, plans of houses. And they were brilliant when I think about them. I even created like a cinema in one of the rooms. And when I showed that to Dad, who, remember, was a builder, worked in the building trade, so he must have known about architecture, he looked at those houses, and I remember designing them very much like the plans that you see when you go onto estate agent sites now. That's what I drew. Very basic patterns, because I didn't know anything about the plumbing and wiring and all that sort of stuff. And then draw the furniture inside as well. And my dad used to say to me, like a little frown would appear on his face. And I saw that, caught that every time. And he'd say, yes, good, but you have to know maths, and you're no good at maths. So I gave up. See? Self-sabotaging. It's very important, the things that you say to kids. You don't have to mollycoddle them. You don't have to keep saying they're great when they're not. You do have to give them a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of hope, encouragement, praise for even trying. Because later on in life, they don't try. They learn from what you've told them, the little expressions that you've had on your face, the tone of your voice. And they learn from that and think, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. And I used to remember a sergeant major saying to the recruits, he used to shout at them. I think I've said this in a previous video, but the recruit used to say, I can't do that, sir. The sergeant major used to say, can't do that? You can't do it? Can't means won't. Won't means no. No means get the fuck in jail. Amazing. Soon rectified that little word can't. Nobody said it again. Anyway, don't doubt yourself. Don't say can't. Say, might be possible. Let's give it a go. It's only a 6-foot wall. I'm only 4 foot tall. It's only 2 foot difference here. I can work it out somehow. I do admire men. There's one thing in their minds. They always try to think that things need to be fixed. And they think 2 ways. Where's the point to this conversation? And where's the problem so I can fix it? And that's all they're searching for when you're talking to them. Because they are brilliant fixers. However, when you become aware of the problems, aware of people's behaviours, actions and deeds and thoughts and words and stuff like that, it's not about fixing it. It's not about where's the problem in this? What can I do to change that situation, that person, what they're saying to me? It's about healing yourself. It's about acknowledging that this is a pain I don't need to have. It's something extra in my backpack I can let go of. I can put down on the side of the road and make my burden lighter. Now, you learned all of these things as a child growing up, and all you have to do to heal yourself is to unlearn those things. Look at them, think of where did that thought come from? Where did that emotion come from? How can I unlearn that emotion? How can you unlearn things? It all comes from being able to know thyself. It comes from discipline. Not being unruly and acting on all these emotions. Being able to say, that's not doing me any good. That's not doing them any good. Let's step back a while and breathe. That's the grounding of any kind of change that needs to happen in your life. Knowing who you are, liking who you are even, and then disciplining those emotions. And how do you do that? You set boundaries. And if people continuously overstep those boundaries, you know they have no respect for you. But if they're reasonable boundaries, like, I would like you to speak to me in this manner, not in that manner, or ask them to repeat the question that they've just asked you again, And then say, no, it's not acceptable to me. It's again that little word, that tiny word that means so much. No. I sound like the Wicked Witch of the West. You just got to say no. No, I'm not accepting that. When you speak to me in a lower tone and you don't get so emotional about it, angry, blaming me, if you stop all of that and speak to me in a decent manner, then I will listen to you. But if you're going to act like this, I'm going to walk away from it. You tell them that you're going to be like that, and that is the way it's going to be from now on. And if they continuously act like that, then they've got no control over their emotions and they don't respect you. That's one boundary. It's just accepting yourself. I don't need to prove anything. I've just asked that, made that request. They've denied me that request. It's a reasonable request. It's asking them to give you a heads up, a bit of peace. That's all. If they don't respect that, then they're not going to learn anything. It's hard to think like that though, because most of us have been taught we don't deserve that. Most of us throughout our lives as kids, we've grown up with the fact that people have always told us we're not good enough. You're stupid. You're irritable little kid. Go away. And while you can feel compassion and empathy for other people's pain, you've also got to feel it for yourself too. Understand that you've been through all of this. You're unlearning old stuff, and that takes time, takes courage, takes discipline, takes hard work. So go easy on yourself. It's not easy being in this world. It's just like, how can I say this? You know the signs on the roads as you're driving along, you see 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. You see all these signs and they're in big red circles. It's big numbers in big red circles. They look like targets, don't they? But they're not. They're guidance. You don't have to get up to that speed travelling along that road. And that's what life is. It's not a target. It's about travelling along the road at a decent speed, a pace that you can handle, that you feel at peace with. And let's talk about this thing about discipline. Okay, discipline. When I watched those soldiers, most of them wanted to be disciplined. They'd come from unruly, painful lives and they wanted something to change them. That's what most of these young lads join the army for. I'm talking about the girls because they have a different reason. But most of the lads that join the army, they want to get away from the life that they've led and they know something's wrong, but they don't know what it is. And they don't want you to kind of like mollycoddle them. They don't want that. They want the discipline. They want to be able to be pushed to their limit to show themselves what they're able to do. And that's where they earn their respect. That's where they respect their elders. That's where they respect their sergeant majors. Not when they're cruel or bullies. That doesn't work. But when you show somebody and lead by example, that's when you earn the respect of these young lads. When you think that you're going through life and you think, oh, where's the point in this? It's just continuing. I'm waking up another day to another day of horrors, another day of bickering, another day of arguing, another day of people pointing out my faults. Where's the point in this? Nothing's going to change. And I used to look at those young lads change from errant little boys could do with a spank to magnificent young men who I was so proud of, full of wounds, full of sorrows and pain and suffering. And while they had the sergeant major to beat them into submission, they had me to come to for a little bit of loving kindness. So sergeant major was the dad and I was the mum. Sergeant major didn't beat them physically, apart from the bullies, that is. They didn't work very well, so they were ousted out. But they gave the lads orders, directions, examples to follow, and they did it themselves. They changed themselves. And that's an example for you. If a man wants something badly enough, he'll do it. If he wants something to change in his life, he will change. But he needs the guidance. He needs the love, the support, and the the safety net, I guess, of the mother figure, but he needs the leadership, the direction, and the respect of the father. But you could usually tell the ones that didn't really want to change, and they were the ones who didn't stay. Ask yourself this question. If you woke up in the morning and, okay, two paths again. If you woke up in the morning and you just continued with the life that you had yesterday and you didn't change anything, it would be the same, wouldn't it? Nothing would be different. But if you woke up in the morning and you had a different thought in your mind and you said, okay, I'm good enough. I respect myself. I like the person I am. I don't hurt anybody. Not deliberately anyway. And I'm willing to learn. What kind of a day do you think you'll have with those words inside of you, those thoughts, that confidence, that peacefulness of mind? It's a different way of thinking, isn't it? Different way of thinking and being and doing and saying, not to other people, but to yourself. Do you think that you gain the respect of anybody? Probably not immediately, because they wouldn't see it. They would just recognise and think, oh, take a little step back. But eventually, things would start to change. It's the pebble in the pool again, the ripple effect. You started to think like that. What kind of life would you lead? What parameters would you put around yourself? What relationships would you accept in your life? What people would you let go of? Because that's where freedom is. That's where your peace of mind is going to be. Aligning yourself with something bigger than yourself, some higher purpose. It's like, I wake up one morning and I think, okay, they've assigned me a role. They perceive me to be this way in life. I'm not going to be what they think I am. Recognizing that you are not the person that they've made you out to be. That's where the freedom is. Sometimes we can't let go of some people. Like, we can't really let go of our children. You shouldn't really abandon your children until they're old enough to understand. You know, when they're little kids, they don't have a clue. We think they do. We think they're intelligent. But you've got more experience than they've ever had. So it's not about abandoning them, not about rejecting them, not about walking away and leaving them for the wolves, basically, to pounce on them. What it really is about is saying to yourself, I'm not going to let you suck my energy. You know, when you feel some person you sit next to, you feel so tired after a while of being with them in their company. You think, oh, I feel so drained. They're kind of like vampires draining your blood, but instead they're draining your energy. And that's what you need to step away from. That's what you need to set your boundaries for. That's what you need to say, enough is enough. This isn't going to happen. That little word, no. About seeing them as a gift, seeing them as a lesson to be learned, how not to be. It's about seeing them, seeing the whole person, seeing their past, the present and the future. Yeah, you can anticipate their future if you see that they're not prepared to change and they want to stay the way they are because they feel it's safe like that. It's sad really, but it's about choosing your own serenity, your own peace above their turmoil and not letting that affect you in the way that they want you to affect you. It's about, just like my mum, again, instead of being controlled or consumed, taken over by my stepfather's attitudes or perceptions of her driving and her friends, instead of accepting that, just saying no. And then from your behaviour change, from your attitude change, with love, obviously, then it's the pebble in the pool again, the ripple effect. When they see you change, they either change themselves or they disappear from your life. As I said before, it's not easy to change yourself because you have to acknowledge that possibly there's something inside of you that needs changing. And that means you're acknowledging that something is wrong, unacceptable, not worthy, not good enough. But also, by identifying that, you can say to yourself, you can find in yourself something that is worthy, that is strong, That is worth it. So yeah, your family, they're not a burden. They're not a curse. They're a gift for you to find the change that is needed and to break the curse of the family generations. Every time you choose to think good things, try to love yourself, like yourself, respect yourself, and think that you're worthy and you're worth it, that's where you find your own purpose in life. Simples. You want to be wise, patient, kind. You'll get the challenges to make you that person. And challenges are the things that are designed to help you heal. Not just your own wounds, but those of people that you love. And when you're going through this, you're travelling on this path, through this journey of life, trying to find your own purpose out of this pain that you're feeling, do not forget, you're not the only one. As many people as there are on this earth, that's how many challenges there are, how many painful situations there are. I don't believe there's 8 billion people on this earth either. Another conspiracy theory going around. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that aside, what path are you going to choose? It's up to you. And in that, you'll find love. And once we have that, there won't be any wars, because nobody will have a reason to fight. From this moment on, from waking up, say tomorrow morning, and changing your attitude, changing your perception, changing your viewpoint on life and your behaviour, your words. Once you start to change that, which is difficult, it is a challenge, and it takes courage, persistence. Think about it. That ripple effect. Is it worth it? Are you worth it? Are they worth it? I'll say bye-bye for now, and hope that you haven't felt as though you've been preached to. I'm going to try and fix this heater because I'm freezing cold. Okay. Have a nice day.